Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Jen, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I just made a contribution. Hope this email finds you well. I've been a follower for some time now and really appreciate what you do. I have endless stories to tell, but I guess the hashtag #MeToo campaign has given me a convenient spot with which to spill my guts. The Me Too campaign is after Harvey Weinstein. Everybody, all the women are saying, everybody who's been sexually assaulted saying hashtag Me Too. I have always had a strained relationship with my dad. I have gone no contact for long stretches of time in the past. He tries to control and change every decision I have made this far in my life, as if I am so dumb that I couldn't possibly figure out life on my own. Some background. I am an educated woman, several honors and graduate science degrees, oldest of three. I have always been excellent in school. I have been independent since about the age of 17. I worked multiple jobs, serving research assistant, lab assistant, greenhouse tech, etc. To make my way through school, I am proud of what I have achieved despite a brutal upbringing of narc abuse. That said, according to him, the people I dated were never good enough. He cheated, discarded my mother, and remained the Jersey whore narc. The degrees I achieved were never going to pay me well enough. He has 0 degrees, and my decisions to move here or there were always criticized. He always has some really weird body issues, where he put me on the Atkins diet at 15, paid for my Weight Watchers at 16, and freaked out when I hadn't lost any weight in a month because he paid for it. I've never even had a BMI over 26. That is really weird when your dad is obsessing over putting you on diets, and that's weird. I am now pretty much always the bad child in our family. I have 2 brothers, one who was treated horribly by my dad during his formative years and who is now learning to assert proper boundaries. I'm so proud of him. The other one still thinks he can coach old Papa out of his personality disorder. Anyway, that's a very brief background for the viewers and you. I had a daughter in 2016 and a very rough pregnancy. I had what Kate Middleton has. My teeth will never be the same. I lived across the country, and everyone, dad included, visited me, and it kind of felt like we had a normal family for some time. Fast forward to the baby being 4 months old, my narc stepmom and dad visit. I can feel as soon as they arrive that they are in peak toxic form. They tell us a story about freaking out at the rental car agent when they arrived, as if it was a glorious event. My father always, my parents always, my father especially, always told about the fights they had in public, how they put some car salesman in their place or put so-and-so in their place. They like took pleasure out of telling you their fighting escapades. Meanwhile, most people are just rolling their eyes. They're alienating people, and you don't realize that at the time. They will fight with anyone. Boy, do I know what that's like. They will go out to eat and wait for the server to mess something up so they can complain. Great way to get your food spit in, by the way. It's awkward. Anyway, they waltzed into my house, and when my infant rooted for me, stuck their dirty fingers in her mouth and laughed. My mother did that to Erin, too, with the dirty fingers. Sticking fingers in... My hubby and I were horrified and asked them not to do that, but we were scoffed at and ignored. Same here. Used to catch her in there, catch them in there, trying to wake her up, put her in clothes they bought her so they could take pictures. It's just pathetic. For 3 days, they debated with me about washing their hands before handling my infant every single time. They are not healthy people. They are always battling some nasty bronchial infection, always on antibiotics, and I feel like I had to work really hard to bring this baby into the world. Also, newsflash, it's my damn child. It all culminated on New Year's Eve. My baby had a dairy and soy allergy. So I literally could not eat out, but they insisted we go out to a steakhouse out of town and would give me a break by booking us a hotel room. This is how out of touch they are. As if a new mom who can't eat out wants to be in a noisy hotel out of town with her infant. Anyway, I sat there with baby throughout the meal. I thought being a good sport about it all. And once the meal was done, my dad asked to take the baby from my lap. As I had just watched him eat a bloody steak, and given that we were in a busy restaurant during flu season, I asked if he could wash his hands. All hell broke loose. Suddenly he was yelling at me from across the table about how I like to stir up controversy and I'm being ridiculous and my house is filthy. So how could I expect him to wash his hands? He was waiting for this. This is my father's tactic, is to blindside you and to catch you off guard and to verbally assault you so he can get what he wants. This is what my father would do repeatedly. This is his like his finishing move. This is his and I'm sure it's your father's finishing move, that he blindsides you with these fits of rages. It's like a professional wrestler has a fit. It's the rock bottom, the big elbow that's his finishing move. All narcissists have one. So you got to always be waiting for the narc's finishing move. My husband spoke up and said, it's our kid, and they kind of stared at each other like they were going to fight. How ridiculous. Like in wrestling. We were that family, yelling like white trash at the steakhouse. I was mortified. And that was always what mortified me, is I was terrified of these public displays, and they knew it. But they didn't give a fuck. I did. The next day, he had a huge argument with my brother as well, and we ended up taking him in at our house, and he ended up flying back home alone. My dad showed up at my house the day after that unannounced. Again, great manners when someone has an infant, and trying to get us all back into the fold. Right, well, he threw his finishing move, so now it all should be working, and it's not going to. He hugged me and dramatically cried. He was sorry and an asshole. This is like WWE. This is like WWE wrestling. His wife has asked him to get him. His wife has asked him to get help for his anger. Blah, 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 blah. All I could think was, please, old man, you have been pulling the same shit for years. I told him I no longer cared to be a part of his psycho cycle, because in all honesty, I could not imagine acting the way he did to my own child. He had nothing to say. Little brother gave him a little bit of coaching, which he ate up, and I eventually just asked him to leave. I tried one last time to let them say goodbye to their only granddaughter to leave on a good note, and they behaved badly again. My stepmom was so offended that my husband had answered the door in silence and retreated to the bedroom that she just sat there with her ugly Jersey trash snarl on and pushed my daughter away when my dad tried to hand her to her. Thanks for my kid's first rejection, bitch. That was literally the last straw, and I was no contact with them since January. Well, that's what happens when the finishing move fails. You get pouts and sour grapes. That's what you get. That's what you get. Now, as life goes, my life fell apart where I was a few weeks ago. I had an unknown bug infestation that was eating my child up at night. My job felt like shit to be back at. The daycare I picked was turning out to be bullshit as well. Once the baby got sick, it fell apart. I was living in a hotel trying to treat her skin while my landlord was telling me it was us who caused the bugs in the 8 short weeks we lived there. After 5 years of refuge, government funded dirty people before us. My world suddenly felt so difficult, so I made plans to go back where I had support at my mom's. Not super proud of it, but it feels necessary for our well-being. I also slipped up one day and called POD. I call him the Prince of Darkness, POD for short. He was kind, he was nice, then he immediately tried to take control, saying, we should take my kid to certain children's hospitals once I was back, as if my husband and I's child is his. Typical. Nope. I got off the phone, shook my head at myself, and reblocked the number. Can't ever go back. They never change. Then my brother calls me as I get to my seat on the plane saying POD is calling him, trying to figure out when I arrive and fishing for information from him. When my brother said you need to talk to her, he goes on a crazed rant about how he could take on any of his kids and come out on top. Another finishing move. Another, or is this like when they grab the mic and they shit talk each other? Is this just shit talking? There it is, the crazy narc we all know, I thought. Well, I participated in the Me Too thing the other day, where women say Me Too, and I wrote a really short paragraph about my first experience being groped 20 years ago. It was by a contractor working for my dad who cornered 12-year-old me in my bedroom. When my mom and I told POD, he acted with irritation. He reacted with irritation. Asked me what I was doing in my bathing suit. I was going to the beach, and the guy stopped, and the guy just kept working. I saw him around our property a few times a week for months after that. My post said just that, without naming names, but with the quote, "Just because good trades are hard to find." I had them all blocked off social media, I thought, but somehow they saw it, and POD was freaking out at my brothers over it all day yesterday. Crying. What is up with all this crying? Denying. He even emailed my mom saying that I had posted it and that now it was public, as if I needed to be managed by everyone. My brother called me saying I should talk to POD about it, which I am sure was the point of his outburst in the first place. Exactly. I mean, he never stops fishing for information. He's constantly trying to call you out. I said I disagree. He kept saying I was putting them in the middle of things and straining his relationship with POD, and I kept saying, well, no, he is doing that, not me. You're straining your relationship. He's straining his own relationship. You want to be around this guy, that's on you. Don't involve me. If your father is making his life miserable, that's his problem. He needs to take that up with his father, not you. I think they actually had a fake account or something on my Instagram. They are stalking me, so I have since cleared all those random followers out. Yeah, you got to be careful. Listen, they're going to have sock accounts, puppet accounts. I mean, my father's up to 6 sock puppet accounts that I know of that are active. I think that's the limit they'll let you have on one email. I think. I'm not sure. I don't know. But it seems like it's 6 because the names change, but it's still 6 all the time. I'm not sure if he thinks I made up the Me Too story. No, because you didn't even go into detail and he knew exactly what you were talking about. Or if he's just ashamed that now it's on my social media and he can't stand his own actions. It's the latter, clearly. He got a brain injury a few years back, and I'm pretty sure he has early onset dementia as well. So he may think it never happened. Right, he has early onset dementia, but you made a vague reference to it, and he knows exactly what you're talking about. Be careful with excusing any of his behaviors to any type of medical injuries. They know how to play into those just fine. Just fine. You gave vague comments for something that happened 20 years in the past when you were 12, and he knew exactly what you were talking about. How does dementia fall into that? Tells me he has a pretty good memory, not dementia. His original response was likely shitty because he was mid-affair with my stepmom, and I bet you my mother and I interrupted a steamy, sexy, secret chat session to tell him his only daughter had been groped by his employee. Him and my stepmom are such losers. Months after that, they both deserted their families for each other. She left 3 young girls. What kind of woman does that? I am sure now that I am back even though I am 3 hours away, this shit is going to continue, and he's going to continue trying to use my brothers to get to me. My brothers and I are close, and I wish they could see it the way I do. I think that they hate him or have a victim complex, but my reality is that I have a child who I don't want that toxic energy around. Well, then you better keep your brothers away from her. Okay, your brothers aren't who you think they are. They aren't who you want them to be. They are clearly the ones feeding your father all this information. Okay, you shouldn't have to explain to your brother that you're not putting him in the middle. If your brother supports you and understands what your father's done to you, then none of this should have to be explained. But no, it does. See, I think this is another example of family members just throwing you morsels, just throwing you crumbs. Meaningless crumbs that you accept because you need some type of validation. These two, I'm telling you, these two brothers are serving you right up to your father. Why? Because as long as your father is obsessed with you, the attention on them is minimized. You can't trust your brothers. You can't trust them at all as long as they stick around that dude. Period. If you are no contact, you cannot be in contact with people who remain in contact with them. It doesn't work because there's always going to be that bridge. They're always going to divulge what you don't want to divulge. Always, 100%. Every single time you find me somebody on here who's been able to where that theory has been proven wrong. It is never proven wrong. It is proven right time and time and time again. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. By him telling you you're putting him in the middle is him taking your father's side and not supporting you. You don't need that in your life, and your daughter doesn't need that in your life, in her life. Your daughter doesn't need to see you getting abused by not only by your father, by your two brothers as well. I think they hate him or have a victim complex, but my reality is I have a child who I don't want that toxic energy around. Good. Her well-being is my first priority, and that is all there is to it. Full stop. I'm hoping my brothers come around soon, but if not, I am sure they will once they have kids of their own. Don't count on it. Don't count on it. I've seen these types, they don't. They don't. Want to know why? Because you're still going to be the black sheep. As long as you're still the black sheep, nothing changes. Nothing changes. For now, I try to place blame where it belongs. I am not triangulating them against him. He is the one creating the chaos. I make this very clear to them. And I say I am sorry that he is doing this to you over and over. I told them to just say this has nothing to do with me, but they face narc rage whenever they do. I hate this shit. Tell them to put on their fucking big boy pants and stand up to him. That's it. How come you can do it and they can't? Too bad. This is why I was no contact. How do I maintain a relationship with them when they are being actively manipulated by POD and I end up smelling like shit every time? Anyway, thank you for doing what you're doing. I'm sorry this turned into a bit of a rant. Looking forward to hearing your outrage at this story. All the best to you, your wife, and kitties. Jen, you can't fix this with them. Because the intent is for you to smell like shit every time. Look, they might be complaining to you about your father, bitching, but it's better than your father bitching at them about them. Understand how the game is played. Understand what you need to do is tell your brothers, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because you trying to empathize with them, trying to give them solutions when the only solution is they need to step up and stand up to your father as well, to their own father as well, and put their big boy pants on. Understand the game that's being played. The game is so you do look like shit every time. So the attention from the narc is always minimized. Stop playing their game. Stop playing their game. Okay, your father threw his finishing move. It didn't work. So now he's incorporating his cronies, and they're somehow making it your problem. It's not. It's not your problem. It's their problem. The narcissist, the enabler is not your problem when you go no contact from the narcissist. Period. It's theirs. So, thank you so much for your contribution, and thank you for your story. I hope this helped. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or you'd just like to make a contribution to the channel in general to help it succeed and grow, because this channel survives 100% by contributions from all of you. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more of it, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.